Jedi Fallen Order's story is flawed right from the start, and this video will show you why. If you cut out the gameplay segment and only listen to the cutscene, there's something inherently wrong with the first 12 minutes of the story. Now, before I explain how I came to that conclusion, let me preface this. I don't hate Jedi Fallen Order. It's actually one of my all-time favorite games. But to let the magnificent gameplay cloud my judgment of the actual story of the game is ignorant. So, what is wrong with the story of Jedi Fallen Order? Well, reviews by players about it are mixed. Some enjoy it while others find it lukewarm at best. The consensus seems to be that it's not terrible, but what's stopping it from reaching the same level of success that other great story games like God of War or The Last of Us have? When I finished God of War, I was left feeling satisfied. I feel like I knew Kratos more as a person. His story makes me emotional. So what about Cal? After finishing Jedi Fallen Order, I feel like not much has changed. There wasn't at any point of the game where I felt a deeper connection with Cal. He was just another character in a video game with struggles that he needed to overcome. Why is that? What's missing from Jedi Fallen Order's story that could have elevated its emotional scenes and make us, the audience, care much more deeply for the character? What could it have done better? If I were to ask, what is the central theme of the story of Jedi Fallen Order? What would you say? Is it courage, trust, forgiveness, or hope? The answer is, we don't know. It was never clear in the game what it wanted the theme to be. Let's take God of War as an example again. I'll be comparing a lot with God of War because I don't think anyone can deny that it's a damn good story game.
Who you were before doesn't matter. This boy is not your past, he is your son. And he needs his father.
God of War may look like a story about fatherhood with the introduction of Atreus, but the real theme of the story has absolutely nothing to do with boy. Atreus is just a catalyst to tell Kratos' story. God of War is a story of Kratos wanting to push away his past life and start fresh. But for him to truly find peace, he needs to accept his past as part of him and strive to become a better person because of it. God of War is a story of acceptance. The lowest moment for Kratos in the game is when he has to confront his past, pick up the Blade of Chaos, and save Atreus. This internal conflict is very emotional because at that point, Kratos has no choice. Either he faces his fear or his child unalives. Now let's compare that to the lowest point for Cal in his story.
No! Yeah! It's over. He failed.
What kind of theme can we infer from that scene? I don't know. His kyber crystal breaks, and he needs it to reconstruct his lightsaber. Why? What happens if he doesn't get his lightsaber fixed? Oh, he can't use it to help in achieving his goal? What is his goal then? To rebuild the Jedi Order? Why does he want to rebuild the Jedi Order so badly? What's so significant about the Jedi Order that he can't live without it? And here lies the problem with Jedi Fallen Order's story. Cal has no clear motive. A character's motive, his wants, his needs, and his fear, all these components create a focused theme that blankets the whole story. Without a strong motive, a theme for the story is hard to identify. But wait, if you think I'm saying Cal doesn't have a strong motive, you're badly mistaken. Cal actually has a very strong motive. It's just extremely unclear. Let's lift up the fog and discover together Cal's true motive in Jedi Fallen Order. Despite what the game wants to make you believe, Cal's motive is not to rebuild the Jedi Order. Rebuilding it is a result of his motive, not the motive itself. Confused? Let's all take a step back and look at where Cal is coming from.
Loss has become a part of me.
As a young Padawan, Cal Kestis lives within the Jedi Order, surrounded by not only his trusted master, Jaro Tapal, but also the stormtroopers that he befriends.
Master Tapal's called me for training.
You got this, kid.
But we all know what happens. Order 66 starts and suddenly Cal's whole life is turned upside down. The stormtroopers that he trusted betrayed the Jedi Order, betrayed him. This childhood trauma would then carry on through his years in hiding. Not only he could no longer trust the stormtroopers, he couldn't even trust anybody else in fear of his safety.
We track Imperial communications. We heard the Inquisitors were heading to Braca, so we made our move.
Oh, yeah? And what's the bounty on Jedi these days anyway?
So where does this leave us with our earlier question? What is Cal's true motive? What does he want more than anything in the world? If you've been living in fear of trusting anybody for years, there's only one thing you could want: to find people you could trust again. And for Cal, the only reliable people he could ever trust again would be his own people, the Jedi Order. Cal doesn't necessarily want to rebuild the Jedi Order. Rebuilding it is the only way for him to finally find people he could trust again. And that is Cal's true motive. When I finally figured out Cal's true motive, I was shocked at how emotional the scenes in the game actually were. How everything is now tied to one central theme: trust.
Remember, trust only in the Force.
With so little trust, it's no surprise to find Cal's lowest point in the story has everything to do with trust. His lightsaber breaks, and even after finding the Kyber crystal, he could not fix his lightsaber as long as he's riddled with self-doubt. And with no way of fixing his lightsaber, Cal will never be able to rebuild the Jedi Order and see his people again.
Failure's not the end, my friend.
And then comes BD-1, a droid that was entrusted with the monumental task of finding someone to rebuild the Jedi Order.
Only with a trusted connection will your memories be restored.
And BD-1 chose blindly to trust in Cal, someone he just met.
I believe in you too, buddy.
Moved by BD-1's faith in him, this little droid that Cal meets at the beginning of the story single-handedly returned his confidence in himself. And with that, he was able to fix his lightsaber, a physical manifestation of his trust. Jedi Fallen Order's story had the potential to be really good. It's unfortunate that it missed the mark with how terribly it tells the audience what Cal's motive is and what theme the story wants to go for. Because of this, the emotional scenes in the game suffer as the audience is left struggling to understand why they should care in the first place. If the game was able to make it clear to the audience what Cal's true motive is right from the beginning, every scene where the theme of trust lingers would have resonated much more deeply with the audience. But how? How could the story do a better job of showing the audience of Cal's true motive? In basic storytelling, there's a proven structure called the hero's journey that story writers try to replicate in order to give the best experience for the audience. Of course, not all stories have to follow this structure, but it is a good starting framework for anyone wanting to write a good emotional and satisfying story. I can't get into too many details on the whole framework as it'll make the video way too long, so I'll just touch on the subject that matters to us right now. The hero's journey model starts here, with the ordinary world, where the hero is shown living their everyday life like everyone else. But it is also here where the hero is shown to want something, a motive if you will. This is a very crucial stage for the hero to have a drive that will shape the story going forward. So remember this stage. The next stage of the story is aptly named Call of Adventure, where the hero encounters a stranger who encourages them to take a leap of faith. In Jedi Fallen Order, this can be seen as when Cal meets Cere and Grease for the first time. Now that we know when a hero's motive should be shown to the audience, let's see what Jedi Fallen Order can tell us about Cal's motive prior to meeting Cere. After cutting out the gameplay portion of the game until we meet Cere, it amounts to about 12 minutes of actual story that exists within the ordinary world. And within that time, the game doesn't actually say much about what Cal wants. Sure, it shows that he's anxious and afraid of the Empire, but nothing within the 12 minutes really shows Cal's desire for anything. What we got instead is just Cal wanting to run away from the planet to save his skin.
Maybe you should, disappear.
Just gonna head back to my place, grab my bag. Tappers owes me a favor.
But him wanting to run away? That's not even his motive. It's just a result of the circumstances that he's been put in. All this culminates in a very weak scene later on when Cal finally decides what he wants to do.
You know, I've been alone for a while now, without any purpose, just hiding. There's no way to live. Not for a Jedi. Maybe Cere was right. Maybe we're done hiding.
To summarize this video, Cal's absence of clear motive in the first 12 minutes of the story really dampens the emotional connection that the audience could have had with Cal. This storytelling mistake that could have easily been fixed unfortunately blew the game's chance of being at the same level of great story games like God of War or The Last of Us. And that's how the first 12 minutes ruined the story of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I'd love to hear your opinion on this and what you think the story could have done better. Thanks for watching, and if you like me and love to dissect stories, especially in video games, subscribe and I'll make more videos like this in the future.